Okay, good evening, everyone. Once more, my name is Mazes, okay, and I welcome you this evening to this important conversation, Christian Igbo Spectrum webinar series. This webinar series is brought to you by the Center for Igbo Studies of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, in conjunction with Njenje Media TV Global. Now, as it is today, we will be looking at understanding what a new governance model proposal for Nigeria is. Igbo stands on restructuring, regional governance, and referendum. To do that, we would be having a no other person than Professor Obasi Igwe, a retired professor of political science from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Also this evening, I have the privilege of having Professor Chris Agbedo, who is here as the lead, as the host this evening. Now, Professor Chris, I believe you can hear me loud and clear. I yield,
very loud and clear.
Yes, I yield the mic to you to take over from here and to make the necessary introduction before we usher in our main speaker this evening.
Thank you, Mazi Tochukwu Ezoke. I want to formally, on behalf of the Center for Igbo Studies, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, welcome all participants at today's maiden edition of the Igbo Spectrum webinar series. We are kickstarting today. This is our maiden edition, and I'm glad to be here. And I'm also happy to welcome all of you, those that have honored our invitation. Of course, my co-host, Mazi Tochukwu Ezoke, the proprietor of Njenje TV. Thank you so much. Our guest lecturer, who is going to deliver the maiden presentation, Professor Obasi Igwe, Professor of Political Science, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Then also our panelist, Professor Apex Ape, Professor of Social History and Rural Economy, and former head of Department of History and International Studies, University of Nigeria. Then also Professor Geraldo Ekene Ezirim, Professor of Political Science and International Relations. And all the good people of Igbo and our friends who are joined us and who are about to join us, I want to formally welcome you to today's edition of Igbo Spectrum webinar series. By way of introduction, I want to formally tell you exactly what is the mission driving this webinar series. So my dear scholars, esteemed guests, and dear participants, it is with great pleasure and deep sense of responsibility that I welcome you all to the maiden edition of the Igbo Spectrum webinar series. Today marks the beginning of an intellectual journey, a series of conversations that we, as custodians of Igbo heritage, must continually engage in to ensure that our destiny, our identity, culture, and contributions to the world are not only preserved, but also innovatively advanced in modern contexts. The theme we have chosen for this series, that is Igbo Spectrum, exploring roots, inspiring innovations, and shaping futures. It's not just a collection of words. It is a clarion call, a commitment to delve into the essence of what it means to be Igbo. It challenges us as a people to explore our roots, the rich tapestry of language, literature, history, and cultural practices that have defined the Igbo as a nation, as a race, as a people for centuries. It calls on all of us to inspire innovations that would drive our progress in the fast evolving world. And it urges us to shape a future that honors our past while boldly embracing the possibilities of tomorrow. Our discussions actually will span a number of areas, including topics each crucial to the survival and thriving of the Igbo people in today's Nigeria and beyond. We will address the promotion, development, and preservation of the Igbo language, our most powerful tool of communication and cultural expression. We will explore our literature and the stories that define our worldview. Our history, rich with triumphs and trials, will be revisited, not just as a record of the past, also, but as a guide for our future. Now, religion, philosophy, politics, and economy, these pillars of society will be critically examined within the Igbo context. So how do our spiritual beliefs shape our interactions with the world? What philosophies guide our actions and decisions? In what ways can we strengthen our political and economic structures to better and serve our people? These are pertinent questions we are going to ask, and we hope to find answers to them. Of course, moreover, science, technology, and agri will be key areas of focus as we seek to position Igbo at the forefront of innovation and sustainable development. Youth empowerment will also take center stage, recognizing that the future of the Igbo nation lies in the hands of our young people. And so through policy and advocacy, we will explore how best to equip them with the tools they need to lead us forward. Now, the series is more than just a platform. It's more than just a platform for academic discourse. It is a space for action-oriented dialogue where ideas can be transformed into tangible solutions for the challenges we face. So it is also a space for collaboration where scholars, policymakers, and community leaders can come together to forge a path forward. And so as we embark on this journey, I encourage each of you to engage fully, to share insights, ask very difficult questions, and then be open to new ideas. The future of Igbo, the future of our collective identity depends on the conversations we start here today, I believe. And so on this note, I want to thank you for joining us. And I look forward to the enlightening discussions that will unfold in this series. And so together, let us explore our roots, inspire innovations, and shape a future that we can all be proud of. There one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think at this point, it will be fair to say to our lead speaker this evening, Professor Obasi Igwe, please, if you may unmute your mic, you can now take the virtual lectern and the floor is yours. Thank you very much, Prof. If you can hear us, unmute yourself and you have the floor.
Are you hearing me well?
Yes, we can hear you, Prof. Go ahead. You are muted back again. Please try to unmute once more.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Prof. Go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Yes, we can hear you, Prof. Go ahead.
We can hear you.
Okay. I apologize again. I'm in a part of the country, as your digital resolution should have shown, where there is absolutely no light. I'm not in the East, but in a meeting I have to attend. So, and for the sake of the Igbo nation, and in connection with the preparation for the new Nigerian movement meeting headed by Victor Taiwo. So I'm on my way, and there is absolutely no light. But I promised Professor Chris Agbedo that this initial meeting must hold under whatever circumstances. So I thank you all for coming. Above all, the Njenje TV, and of course, Chris has spoken. I extend my hand and my congratulations to the other people present to Ugwuona, Gerald Ezrim, Kennedy Ukechuku, Obi, Cecilia, Eme, and Emeka Ugwoju, Sydney Davis, and the rest. Felicia Nade, thank you all very much. Now, let me go, and Josiah Waneri, Apex, Ape, please, thank you very much. I have to be fast because I've been watching Njenje TV. They don't like too many preliminaries. What I'm trying to say now is Nigeria is upon a deep blue ocean, navigating unruddered, and each ethnic nationality is trying to find their own bearing so that you will not be the sacrificial lamb. Nigeria now is almost practically a failed state. Without the army pointing guns at everybody, people would have gone their different directions. So we are now united physically, but the spiritual unity is totally zero. Now we have fought. We have fought for Biafra, for separation into different nationhood. And we have discarded that. We are no more fighting for Biafra. Not because freedom is no more the highest value. It is still the highest value. Because when the unattainable is not possible, you go for the possible. If we start to wage war for Biafra, Britain, America, the whole NATO will aid Nigeria to wipe the remainder of the Igbo out. They're already wiping the Igbo out. They're already waging war against the Igbo. There is an instrumental genocide going on. Nobody is talking about it. Our youths have been disappeared. There are thousands of them allegedly in various dungeons in Nigeria. Nobody is speaking for them. Parents are looking for their children. Husbands, their wives. Wives, their husbands. Relations, their relatives. For nothing. Except that the former ruler decided to wage a phony war against an insurgency that never existed anywhere. And he had to let the international community know that the Igbo are also as brutal and as savage as themselves. He went eliminating communities in the Middle Belt, planting his Fulani cohorts on them, wiping out indigenous communities, renaming them, with Nigerians keeping quiet, descended on the Igbo. There was nothing happening. Somebody was in the airwaves making campaign about somebody of Sudan. It wasn't war, it's war of words. And then in vengeance, he had to export violence to the Igbo nation and also to Yoruba people. And then to the Hausa people in an attempt to eliminate the remnants of the Hausa. Now we come to a conclusion that Nigeria has to be restructured for us to live together as peaceful people. Because if we now want to fight again for Biafra, they will forget their differences and descend on the Igbo. We have no America or Britain or world power to help us. We are already being eliminated, even without fighting. How much more when there is a declared war for independence? But we are totally in support of the right to self-determination for everybody. Full self-determination. It doesn't hurt. It's constitutional. It's lawful, both in domestic and international law. there is a provision for the right to self-determination of all peoples. Our own cannot be different. But in Nigeria, there is no legality about anything. What anybody thinks he wants to do, he has power, he does it. So we are taking it easy with our fellow countrymen, and we are now subscribed into restructuring. The problem with the Igbo intelligentsia, not all the Igbo intelligentsia, please, some Igbo intelligentsia is political illiteracy. They don't even understand the meaning of restructuring. Not that they're incapable of understanding it, but they are unwilling to persevere to study it. Some of them don't even know the meaning of Igbo. They don't even know Igbo territory. They don't even know that the Igbo opened Port Harcourt, Iguacha, opened Obani, opened Opobo, that the Igbo were a leading maritime nation in the West African Gulf of Guinea. That the Igbo populated America, not through the air, not through space, but through the Igbo coastal ports. That the essence of abandoned property is an ethnic cleansing of the Igbo in the meridional areas to pretend that the Igbo are landlocked. And that this landlocking phenomenon is an economic forged in terms of economic blockade in 1967 is still subsisting today. That economic blockade blockaded the eastern ports, above all the specific Igbo ports of Boni, Opoba, and Port Harcourt, to make sure that the Igbo neither imports or exports. And that diverting the Igbo, thereby diverting the Igbo to Lagos to do everything. Therefore, deindustrializing the east of Nigeria and making sure that unemployment, depopulation, disease, and want and acrimony are what you find in the east. Not only within the Igbo communities, but between the Igbo communities and the communities in the east. So when they now say in Lagos, go back, we don't want you Igbo people to go back, they are fully aware that they are going to incite the Ijaw to blockade, to lay claims on Port Harcourt and Opobo and Boni, to go and incite the Ikwere to say, you are not Igbo, you are from Spain. To go and tell the Eche, don't agree. So that by this divide and rule, the Ijaw will be suffering, the Ogoni will be suffering, the Ikwere and Eche, Boni, Opobo, all the Igbo in River State will be suffering, the Igbo Intala will be suffering. It is the way they are destroying the East. Now, as a member of the Igbo Elders Council Worldwide, and as a member of other organizations, we have now led before Nigeria. Now, for the lifting of the economic blockade, mounted in 1957, as a precondition, or as a necessary part of restructuring Nigeria, we now demand that the eastern ports, not only the Igbo ports, be reopened, each one for their own. The Bini have their Owoton and Gelegele. The Ishekiri have their Wari and Odi Ishekiri and others. The Ijaw have their Burutu. They have Akasa. They have Dembe Brass. They have the Kalabare ports. The Igbo have Port Harcourt. They have Boni. They have Opobo. Those who open them know. The Akwa Ibom, Aqua Cross, Ibibian, and Efik, they have the Bakassi ports. They have Oron. They have Calabar. They have Bakassi. So why should these ports not be opened when they are needed most? So our aim in restructuring is to make sure that there is a regional development, multi-regional development in Nigeria, with each southern ethnic nationality regaining access to their ports to import and import, so that Lagos will be relieved of the gridlocks and lock jams that are impeding the development of the eastern wing of Nigeria, while the East is also developing on its own within one Nigeria. We also see that the opening of the eastern ports will trigger development in the middle belt down to Meduguri. That there will be a spillover, positive spillover effect that keeping the Igbo down has also kept the middle belt down, kept the northeast down, kept Nigeria down. So we want all these things to be opened. But there are people who don't understand this, or maybe who understand these arguments but don't want to pursue them because they are not sweet to the ruling class. These people are talking about constitution, changing the Nigerian constitution. Whereas that is not the issue in Nigeria. And in this changing Nigerian constitution, they are telling us that they want to retrieve the 1963 constitution, that 1963. Then the collapse of the 1963 constitution is the problem with Nigeria. And that is a lie. Because Nigerian history is where you start your own. You can start Nigerian history from 15th century, when we met the Europeans. You can start it with the jihad, 1800s. You can start Nigeria's history in 1937, 1944. When all the killings started, you can start your own history with the Wetie campaign, with killings of the Yoruba, the rigging of elections and censuses. You can start your own Nigerian history by the mini genocide in the Middle Belt, killing the TV and so on, which then triggered 15 January. You can start your Nigerian history in 15 January, 1966, or anything. You can start Nigerian history anywhere, but there must be a holistic approach that wherever you start your history, the consequence is the same. The general disaster in the country today. And we have decided, we have suggested that because we know that Nigeria has to be reorganized, that what we're having today is not from the people's consent. When you organize, let each people voluntarily accept being members of this Nigerian community, because we are not going anywhere. Our territories are fixed. But there are some people, powerful people, with strong voices that are saying it is Nigerian Constitution of 1963 that we should go back to. They are totally wrong on all sides, but they are getting traction in the press. How do you go to the Nigerian 1963 Constitution or parliamentary rule? Can President Tinubu accept to be a ceremonial president under a powerful prime minister called Akpabio? Can the states in each region come together and subject themselves to one premier? These are the practical aspects of returning to 1963. So, and all these states created out of the regions agree to rejoin and become members of that particular region, when they thought they have freed themselves from the entanglements of ethnic superiors or so, superiors in quote. So when they were defeated on that logic, they said, no, it's not going back to 1960 as such. It is to retrieve the elements in the federating elements, principles in 1963 into 1969, 1999, into the 36 states, which is also a wrong argument. You don't need to lift a sunken ship in the ocean before building a better one. Must we first of all go and retrieve 1963 before making a proper constitution for 2024? They've not been able to come around that argument. So, and then why should we blame the military for imposing 36 states on Nigeria, and at the same time suggesting that we build a new constitution on the 36 states imposed by the same military? So we saw this as a delay tactic in order to make sure that nothing happens. So now the situation with ethnic nationalities is this, the summary. The Hausa want self-determination. They don't want the caliphate again. Recently, a Hausa, the only surviving Hausa emir, was killed. His abductors demanded 1 billion naira. The question is, if he were a Fulani emir, could he have been killed? Could he have been exposed to such a situation in which he was vulnerable? An emir killed. So that is a question. The Hausa are still grieving. The Hausa Salsa Development Association, led by the emancipator, Ajay Jitami Alembe, they say they want their own independence in Hausa land. The Middle Belt want independence in Middle Belt. We didn't want Nigeria. They want to return to their ancestral homes. And those people who expelled them from there, expelled from Nigeria, and put through the judicial process, they want to regain their territory. The Yoruba have made it clear that they want the Yoruba nation, uniting all the Yoruba in Nigeria into one entity as a Yoruba nation. The Ijaw people say they want a contiguous Ijaw nation, not scattered between states. And they be making that demand. The Ogoni people have been asking for Ogoni self-determination within one Nigeria. Nobody is asking to leave Nigeria. The Igbo now are making a demand for an Igbo uni-ethnic self-determination within Nigeria, including the reopening of the Igbo port cities of Port Harcourt, Obani, and Opobo. We are not trying to, and we are not interested in victimizing or marginalizing anybody. The Igbo are interested in the Eastern unity, uniting all the groups in the East, including the Igala, the Idoma, all the people, Ijo, and the Shekiri, and the Bibio, and the Ogoni, and the Edo. We are interested, Igbo want that, even including Yoruba. But we will not impose it on anybody. We will want each people to decide it upon themselves, to come together on consensual basis as either a multi-ethnic region or as uni-ethnic regions. But everything has to be consensual. But this is what some Igbo people are doing. They are joining this campaign for revision of the Constitution or going back to 1963. Without knowing that this going back to 1963 is a means of strengthening the six geopolitical zones, which is the anathema, which is the foundation of the Igbo deindustrialization, of the Igbo poverty, of the Igbo impoverishment, of the Igbo marginalization. Because these six geopolitical zones is carved in such a way to deny Igbo their coastal ports, to pretend to an Igbo landlocking, to divert industrialization, Igbo industrialization to the West, to the Yoruba, which we are not regretting. We appreciate the hospitality of our Yoruba brethren, but we know that they will benefit even more if they are given a leeway to develop in a more peaceful environment, devoid of this ethnic acrimony, this, that. So these six geopolitical zones was not arrived at by the consent of anybody. The six geopolitical zones denied Hausa people their sovereignty, their independence within Hausa land, and reinforced the Fulani Caliphate upon the Hausa people. The six geopolitical zones denied the Yoruba the unity with the Yoruba, Okun Yoruba, the Lorin Yoruba, Yoruba elsewhere. The six geopolitical zones cut the Igbo into pieces, denying the hinterland Igbo that unity with the coastal Igbo and Igbo ports. The six geopolitical zones is the basis of the impoverishment of Nigerians and only benefiting those that don't have territory like the Fulani. That's the only people and the allies. That's what the six geopolitical zones are about. And the 2014 Constitutional Conference explicitly, go ahead, 280 something, the report Premium Times, 2014 Constitutional Conference explicitly said that six geopolitical zones should not be the basis of any restructuring in Nigeria. But because it hurts the Igbo most, it attains the objective and solidifies the objective of suppression and dehumanization and deindustrialization of the East. Therefore, everybody is talking about geopolitical zones. In this instance, I will let you know, Southeast Development Commission, that thing means nothing. Because how can Southeast Development Commission work? And then they manufacture at Nnewi, manufacture at Aba, Enugu, and so on, only to go back to Lagos to export and import. So where is the development? Where will the development come in? Like the Onisha seaport, Orashi seaport. These are all deceitful exercises the Igbo are rejecting. Why must we have seaports in natural seaports in Iguacha, Obani, and Opobo, and you are diverting to Onisha? The same Onisha and Orashi will go through the same Ijo areas or rivers areas, hundreds of kilometers over dry land. Except River Niger is dredged out throughout down to the coast, there will be no seaport in Onisha. And there is no water to fill that River Niger because the water in the River Niger has already been taken over by several dams from Senegal to Kainji Dam. So no water to fill it to the depth of, let's say, 15 meters to carry V-shaped ships that can come from abroad. Or even flat bottoms will find it difficult to come to Onisha. under even dredge conditions. So we condemn these receipts, regular receipts of Onisha will have a port, or Russia will have a port. Everywhere when we already have ports that are not functioning. So we are now saying the Igbo region must comprise all the Igbo-speaking communities in the 13 states of the contiguous indigeneity, both from Abia to Bayelsa, to Kogi, to Benue, to Cross River, to Akwa Ibom, Cross, and all Igbo people will come together who are doing the same thing the Yoruba are doing, the job want to do, and so we support all those demands. But in the South, we are telling our brother Ejo, our brother Ogoni, please don't be used to block the Igbo access to the coast, like they are trying to use you. We've already changed the view of the Ikwere. Ikwere have rejected that notion of we are not Igbo, we are not Igbo. There is no other Ikwere saying that any longer. Now we are appealing to our Ogoni brethren, to our Ejo brethren, that respect the British decision of 1957-58 in the Willis Commission, that the broad sea lane divided Ogoni from Ejo. That broad sea lane to Port Harcourt belongs to Igbo. It's an Igbo territory. They should respect it. Page 51 of the Willis Commission report. They should respect the fact that an Igbo opened Opobo, that Imo River Basin, Imo is an Igbo word, from Azumini to Opobo, down to the coast. Igbo. So Igbo have two parallel contiguities to the coast. So what we are saying is we are not blocking anybody. And we are appealing to our eastern relatives, eastern neighbors. Let us join together and form another bigger eastern region. But in case anybody talks about marginalization, Igbo ambition, let everybody answer his father's name. He return his own contiguities to the coast, and then we can formally, at our own time, join together under any nomenclature. Therefore, what we are trying to summarize is that this new constitution they are talking about in history, they are missing one important fact, that new constitution cannot stand on the prior principle of regions that were multi-ethnic, with the ethnic groups agitating for freedom. That you cannot transplant that same thing into 1999 and say you have changed the constitution. Because you have objected to 1999 on the principle that it was a military constitution and therefore not legitimate. There is nothing again from 1960 you can build on the illegitimate 1999 to make it legitimate in Nigeria. That the people agitating are not regions, are not zones. The people agitating are ethnic nationalities. And that the Nigerian ethnic nationality want to give the imprimatur to the notion of one Nigeria on a consensual basis. Therefore, the new Nigeria movement is now anchored upon a new Nigeria based on uni-ethnic nationalities that are viable enough to stand alone, side by side with multi-ethnic nationalities that can stand together as one region in order to be competitive with other regions. That is something that the new Nigeria movement is approaching. We have not come to a consensus, but other Nigerians need to listen to this. Our Fulani brothers must know that they cannot subject the Hausa into slavery in perpetuity. A means has to be found to free the Hausa from the caliphate. So the Hausa will gain their independence within Hausa land, while maybe a part of the north will be carved out for the Fulani. The Sharia, which is caliphate law, should go in order to make sure that Nigeria is subject to a single rule of a modern democratic secular state to ensure free trade, to ensure one law, one rule, governing everybody, to make us one country. You cannot be operating parallel laws and parallel governance all at the same time. So the Fulani should know this, that it's in their own interest to support restructuring. The Middle Belt should know that their support for restructuring is good for them, because when they are free, everybody will try to be free. The same with Hausa. They just should know that the Igbo are their best friends. They should know that the Igbo are their best friends. We are best friends to each other. We are best friends to the Yoruba. Yoruba are also our friends. Don't mind the machinations going on in social media about who said this, all these manufacturers, false manufacturers going on. Nigeria should know that we are all black people, that we can build a good country where everybody will feel safe. But there are people on the negative side who don't like this. The former ruler must be condemned forever. He was the person that instigated terrorism in the East. He brought unknown gunmen, organized them. Some of them even confessed that they were paid by that government, organized by that government to be killing the Igbo people. The military were organizing military campaigns, military exercises in civilian areas, taunting civilians, provoking them and challenging them to war. For what reason? Now, there are thousands of Igbo youths allegedly in various dungeons in Nigeria. No, but to travel now is a risk. To travel now, the other day they just captured a doctor in Enugu. Another day they captured one person along between Enugu and Osaka. Got 30 million from him. Somebody in Imo State was telling me yesterday or day before yesterday how they accosted 4 of them from a shop. He managed to escape. They demanded 300 million from those people. Those people are never arrested, which makes us suspect that they are not Igbo. Because those who manage to be arrested, they are never put on trial. So, and then when the treatment they give to the Igbo is they kill them all, so that nobody will come forward and deny that he wasn't an unknown gunman. They wage war, killing all of them, but in other places they arrest them and charge them to court. So we are appealing to Nigerian authorities to stop this differential treatment. Let them try and arrest those people. They say they are terrorists in quote and so on. They are fighting insurgency because Igbo know that no Igbo man is fighting any insurgency at all. But whatever is happening in Imo State, they know themselves well. There is no way a federal government can sustain under the last 8 years some type of violence in a region without having a story to tell to justify it. So we are appealing to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have praised him before because when he came to office, this unknown gunman thing immediately stopped. Security improved instantaneously. But all of a sudden, these people appeared to feel that they can't have the East to be in peace. See what they enacted in Aba. How can 5 soldiers be together and wiped out without resistance, without any one of them resisting? And they said there will be fierce response. The fierce response was children living in the neighborhood who knew nothing. And then have these children been brought back to their parents? Fierce response. How could, and the governor, the people were saying, we don't think these people are from Igbo land. These are the types of things happening in Igbo society. So on one side, the Igbo are killed. The other side, the Igbo are killed. Nobody is hardly anybody brought to the courts to just and say, okay, you were on good. No. We are not saying that they may not have been. They are not Igbo people who have been subscribing to this violence by this Fulani and military or government pro-supporters on Fulani. We are not saying that. We are saying that on our own, Igbo don't support any violence, any unknown gunman, any terrorism, any killing of Igbo against Igbo or killing other Nigerians. So we are appealing to the federal government. We are on our knees, appealing to the federal government that it doesn't serve Nigeria well to have a part of it being a danger zone to its people. That all the people in jail, the jail should be opened. Let the jails be opened and free these people, if there are any people there. And those who committed any offense, they should be brought to the courts. They talk about Nnamdi Kanu. If Nnamdi Kanu has committed a crime, let him be brought to the court. He's been brought to the court. The court freed him. Why are they still keeping him and all his people? So this is an appeal to the federal government. We are not making it as a demand. It's an appeal that it doesn't serve anybody any good in Nigeria to treat the Igbo apart from other people. The recent incident of one clown in Canada saying the Yoruba should be poisoned, the Edo should be poisoned. It's all hogwash. No Igbo person will do that. Total hogwash. How is that possible? The other day, that Igbo went and destroyed embassies in Senegal and somewhere in Asia simultaneously, and all of them were accessed by our Yoruba friends. It's not possible. It's not. Then this other one in Canada saying the Igbo will poison the Yoruba and Bini people. What did Yoruba people do to the Igbo? Above all, what did the Edo people, Bini people do to the Igbo? When we assemble the Yoruba people and poison them, and then it is what then unites the Yoruba and Bini, except that some people maybe want to win election. They want to win election in Edo State, and therefore they have to unite. They accuse Obaseki of being an Igbo supporter, and so on and so forth. So these things, this Hitlerization of Nigeria, this nazification of Nigeria should come to an end. Igbo want a peaceful society. We are mainly traders and businessmen. And we encourage Nigerians to subscribe to this type of restructuring that will benefit everybody. And we are appealing to the Igbo intelligentsia to come to the knowledge of the intricacies of restructuring. The intricacies of this structuring, the game plan. It's not by silence that we were able to bring the reverse Igbo together again. The Igbo now is firm. Every Igbo man, you can hardly hear the Ohanese president generalship is going to the River State. Anybody that tries anything then against it is on his own. So it is because of constant advocacy, constant struggle, unity of purpose. So we are appealing to the Igbo intelligentsia to subscribe to this, to debate this thing, to get into anywhere. Let us be of one mind, and we will achieve the objective, because our objective is good. Our purpose is correct. Our peaceful method is lawful and civilized. So the Igbo will get where we want to go. And now, finally, I will use this opportunity to thank the Igbo in diaspora. We know what you are suffering, leaving your homelands and still remembering your people. We know the things you send home. We know that all these atrocities in Igbo land are also aimed at scaring you from coming home or helping your people. They want Igbo land to be unlivable and ungovernable. Even though we blame many of the governors, but I will let you know, my good friends, that to be a governor in Igbo land is a sorry thing. See what they have done to Oti. You are a chief security officer, but you have no army and you have no police. So in a way, you pity the governors. You pity the Igbo appointed officials, because you have to dance to the tune. He who pays the piper calls the tune. Sometimes they may demand, they will suspect that you support the killing of your people as a precondition to stay in office. Otherwise, you'll be removed by a court, quote unquote. Something else more can happen to you. So we should also understand the Igbo governors, the Igbo appointees to office. They are not finding it easy. But we are not using this as an alibi for not doing anything entirely. But we should understand that they're also not finding it easy to operate. Igbo citizens are in fear. You don't know where who the next person can be. Communities invaded by the same people. And where is the army? When the army wants to act, in some instances, they act against the locals. We are appealing to the army. Everybody in authority, we are not fighting war. Igbo are your friends. We're all Africans. Why all this war? Why all this war? Why heroism against your own people? Let us live peacefully with each other and start developing. That's the only thing the Igbo people want. Igbo people have never lifted a sword against anybody. They've only been defending themselves in their own homes. Not a sword. How can a businessman who wants peace in order to thrive, lift a sword? We don't want to leave Lagos. But if we have to leave Lagos, that should be peaceful and consensual. We want the Yoruba to come and invest in the East. We want Northerners to come and invest in the East. It is not only the Igbo that should be investing elsewhere. That is how to become one country. Reopen Port Harcourt, Igbo Bani Opobo. Relink them multimodally to the Igbo hinterland. That will have a spillover effect on the middle belt down to Meduguri. Nigeria will develop multimodally and multi-regionally, and these ethnic tensions will diminish. That is the magic the Igbo is bringing to the Nigerian floor on restructuring. And in this restructuring, we present 4 elements. First, new units. There must be new units of the polity. Number 1, relatively large ethnic groups should stand alone as ethnic regions. They are mostly in the south. So there must be an Igbo region down to the coast, Yoruba region down to the coast. There should be an aqua cross. This aqua cross, the original southeast region, combined together down to the coast. Then, living since the Ogoni and the Andoni are sandwiched between the Obani, Port Harcourt channel and Opobo Azumini channel, they form the southern region. Then the Ijaw contiguity, Ijaw is contiguous leftwards with Ishakiri, with Edo, Bini, with Ishan, with Urobo. They form a region, except if Ijaw wants to delink from them and form a sole Ijaw region. But we remind our Ijaw leaders that the Ijaw are spread even from Senegal to Ivory Coast, to Ghana, to Nigeria, down to Brazil. Ijaw units. If Ijaw contiguity is taught in such terms, then no ethnic group will have a coast, a contiguous coast, a contiguity to the coast. Therefore, once the Ijaw accept Burutu to Rio or New Calabar River, and in order not to block the Igbo channel of Bonny to Port Harcourt, they will realize that the other Ijaw settlements are exclaves and enclaves of the Ijaw, which will enjoy equal rights. So let them not be tempted to come and be claiming purpose of places just in order to satisfy some other Nigerians. We are also asking the Yoruba people to stand firm on the principle of ethnic nationalities as regional units.
Prof, thank you very much for your intervention. Prof.
The second one.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Professor? Yes, please. So that
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, a passionate delivery you've made there. I do quite understand that if given the time, Prof will be here in the next couple of hours for your oratory. But Prof, before I get the panelists to join this conversation, may I quickly ask for some clarifications? I believe you can hear me loud and clear. You confirm you can hear me loud and clear, Prof?
I'm hearing you, but you are not loud enough, but I'm hearing you.
Okay.
I'm hearing you, sir.
Okay. So let me quickly say this. You know, you criticize those that are proposing for the 1966 or revert to 1963 Constitution. By this, I believe you are making reference to the Patriots. Now, if you, in quotes, with your group are against the revert to they revert to 1963 Constitution with current reality, then I want you to make the following clarification, please. What is your take then, if you are saying no to 1963 Constitution with current reality? How do you then say about, or rather, what do you then say about the regionalism as proposed by Dr. Akin Fapohunda, the one who made proposition for the 8 regions? Moving forward, what is then your take by the propositions in line with what you've just said, made by Tony Nadi, that is the NINAS, that says the 1999 Constitution should go, the National Assembly has no right to make a new Constitution. Now, where do you stand? Are you standing that? Are you standing, to say that the National Assembly has the right to make or to give Nigerians a new Constitution, or are you of the view and opinion that they have nothing to do with in giving Nigeria a new Constitution? And please, if you clarify this, and I want you to also clarify when you talked about the uni-ethnic identity or nationality, however the nomenclature is. What does that entail? Moving away, or rather juxtaposing it to our today's reality, where we have quasi ethnic nationalities. How do you define that? If you understand what I mean there.
Okay, sir. Maybe I will forget some, but you have put so many questions, but I'll try. First of all, we are against returning to the 1963 Constitution as a precondition to coming back to 1999. That is the thing. The question is, must you return to 1963 to retrieve a sunken ship before building a new ship? That is the thing. Now, they record it to say that they are only trying to retrieve the federalist tenets of 1963 and apply them to 1999. And we said there are already federalist tenets in 1999. And that the 1999, you condemned it as a military constitution. Why would you retrieve the non-military constitution to superimpose upon a military structure? A contradiction. So we cancel that as a delay tactic. That you don't. What they are meaning now is that they should be, the 33 states should be the constitutive units of the new Nigeria. What is new in reconstituting what exists into what will exist? Excuse me. If the 33 states, sorry. 33 states are already existing. They are all federating units now. Why must you tell us that you want to go to 1963 Constitution in order to retrieve the federating principles of 1963 to apply them to 1999 Constitution? When the 1999 Constitution that produced the 36 states is already a federal constitution. It may lack legitimacy, but it's legal, nevertheless. It's a federal constitution, so we regard that as a tautology and the delay tactics. So now, in terms of Patriots, we reject the Patriots idea because the Patriots idea is simply around the same 1960 Constitution, and though they went into 6 geopolitical zones, this is a design. Anything 6 geopolitical or 1960 Constitution is not what Nigerians are asking for. It's a means of reinforcing the status quo. And one bad thing in it, they always gather Igbo people who speak good English. That was how the 6 geopolitical zones descended on the Igbo without interrogation by the Igbo intelligentsia. I was there as the rapporteur in the 1994 Igbo meeting. Every Igbo man that Ojukwu Mbakwe, all of them were there. So we were crying in that great meeting. And I have the Igbo document that asked for 6 zones or so, signed by all the Igbo leaders. That Igbo document, the signature from River State was Francis Ella, uniting all the Igbo to the coast. But suddenly we heard that Ekweme went and signed another socio-political zones that deprived the Igbo of their coastal ports. We examined that and saw that that document Ekweme signed was purportedly signed by Ekweme was fraudulent because it was not the zonal structure recommended by the Igbo. We don't even know whether it is indeed Ekweme did so, because we are aware of the people called a group of Babangida scholars that design 6 geopolitical zones to reinforce the ethnic cleansing in the River State. So let that be. Then the National Assembly can initiate a constitutional review. By law, they can. But by structure, they cannot. All they can do is managing devolution of powers. Even the devolution of powers may not be substantive, because devolution of powers is simply a means of conceding some elements of the exclusive list to the concurrent list, not even to the residual. Like now, the local government autonomy thing, and so on, which was an executive order, not even a bill. I think it has now been converted into a law. It doesn't need a law or a bill because it's already constitutional. It has not been approved by 2/3 of the states. So, but it's dancing all around as a new law, which is not. So the National Assembly might initiate some type of changes, but not substantive. But Nigerians should know what they want. If we want pancake, those touching some aspects of the Constitution, we can use the National Assembly, but the National Assembly is ill-equipped. Nigerians are asking,
Prof,
which of course is not easy. Yes.
May I interject here?
Yes, sir.
You've shut down the 1963.
Yes, sir. Do so, sir.
No, okay. You've shut down the 1963 suggestion. Now, and you made allusion that there was in the 1994 Constitutional Conference, or rather what was then known as Abacha Constitution Conference, where the geopolitical zone came from. In one of my conversations with the Professor Chidi Oswag, he would disagree with your position that it was something agreed, and eventually Ekweme went to submit something else. But we can take that question, conversation, and do a triage on that to clarify what the real thing here is. But my issue here, you've in the last 40 minutes or so, I've listened to you. I'm still missing to put my hand somewhere to say this is what you're. Yes, you shut down A, you shut down B. The question is, if you are not proposing to say, let's, remove and start afresh by maybe something like the Constituent Assembly or the ethnic nationalities to come out with something, at the same time, you're not saying that the National Assembly, you're basically, your last word here is that the National Assembly lacks that power to also make that new constitution for Nigeria. So if you're rejecting A, you're rejecting B. What is your proposition, if you may do that in 2 minutes, Prof?
Yes, sir. So you didn't allow me to land. You would have known you would have understood what I mean.
Okay, please, can you do that in 2 minutes?
I didn't say the National Assembly lacked the constitutional powers. They have the powers to initiate. They have the powers to initiate. But I say the way they are now constituted, they cannot go beyond devolution of powers. There's a difference between devolution of powers and restructuring. I also have the units. I know what Professor Swagu was saying. And I think I corrected him on that. I tried to. Not that I should correct him. I think I know what he was saying, that he himself was actually the author of the socio-political zones. I told him, I think, that he should not pursue that line of argument. No Igbo man should be proud of 6 geopolitical zones. We have the units already. Igbo nation should stand. I was mentioning the units. Yoruba nation should stand. Hausa nation should stand. A place should be found for the Fulani nation. Fulani nation should stand. Akwa Cross should stand. Ijo contiguity to Edo will stand, except if the Ijo is alone. That is, these are Ogoni, Andoni will stand as a region. Middle belt will be carved into 2 or 3. That will make between 10 and 12 regions in Nigeria. We have the regions, we've drawn the maps. Then how are they to be attained? It will be a joint exercise by the presidency to initiate a bill to convert these suggestions into a law, supported by the National Assembly and civil society organizations. Because restructuring cannot be handled only legislatively or executively. The ethnic organizations will join, civil society organizations will join. That is why people are talking about sovereign national conference, constitutional conference, and so on and so forth. It's a joint exercise to renew Nigeria on a new platform. We have the means, we've drawn the suggestions. There's nothing we are missing in it.
Thank you, Prof.
There's absolutely nothing we are missing. So when we say 1963, we rejected 1963 on objective basis. And saying, must you leave a sunken ship in the Atlantic before building a new ship? A better ship. That's the question they've not been able to contend with.
Hello, Prof.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Prof. Hello, Prof. Yeah, I think we
yes,
have
sir. I'm listening, sir.
I think we have landed.
I'm listening. I'm hearing, sir.
As Mr. Ezoke have wanted you to do.
Okay, sir.
Thank you
I have
so
more.
much.
I have more, but you don't want me to go on. Yes, sir.
More. But let us invite our panelists to make their own intervention right now, so that together we'll, advance the the conversation. Now, may I please invite Professor Apex Ape to please take over the discussion, and then let us have your own perspective of the presentation made by Professor Abasiwe. Thank you, Professor Ape. If you can hear me.
Professor Ape, please kindly unmute, please.
Professor Ape, please.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
yes. I've unmuted. Yeah, thank you, Prof. Chris, and the co-host. I've had the presentations made by Professor Basiwe, really on the issue of restructuring, regionalism, and referendum, with particular reference to Professor Dr. King Fabunda on the situation today in Nigeria, because we all know that when the present government came on board, Dr. Fabunda, right? Fabunda made his submissions via what the group called the Patriots on how best to go. And for me today, I'm seeing it as one of those diversions. Yes, it appears diversionary. This is not just the first time. We remember that Sani Abacha did it to buy time. Jonathan too came up, did it to buy time. And now today, the present government is trying to use that to at least to push everybody's mind out of what the prevalent situation in the country and concentrate on trying to find how to regionalize Nigeria, how to restructure Nigeria, which all of us have been talking before him. And today, Fabunda has made his own, and the thing is becoming so topical in discussion. And my master, Professor Obasigwe, in his own submission, very, I wouldn't say it's pathetic, but it's full of passion. Prof exhibited passion in the presentation because you see, every ethnic group in Nigeria at any point in time, you call anybody there, you try to portray, this is my own, we are innocent. Whatever bad thing that is happening because these other people don't like us or they don't love us and all this. Right. But have we been able to ask ourselves, the Igbo, how far do we love ourselves? We cannot be talking about bringing in this other ethnic group, saying that we want access to the sea, right? We know we need that we'll get back to colonial maps to bring them in. We remember that immediately after the Civil War, the rest of the country saw the Igbo as socially and politically leprous. They disowned the Igbo. In fact, not even from 1967, when the Gowon administration divided Nigeria into 12 states. The minority Eastern region ethnic groups, all of them grabbed theirs with both hands. That today they have been given a political space and they have been freed from the Igbo. And before you know it, they have started consolidating. And at the end of the war, it is the abandoned property that we are no longer Igbo. The Ikwere said they are no longer Igbo. I wonder if they today agree or we are going to force Igbo down their throats. That Opobo, yes, founded by Igbo person, do you think those of them along the coast will ever say they are Igbo or agree to give Igbo the access or will start another war to gain this access to the coast? In as much as we are Igbo people, we try to find means and ways to play our part in the Nigerian Federation. Definitely we have to, as a matter of fact, our agency, get a meeting with our people, with these other neighbors. We have to extend arms to them, hands shake to them. Let us sit down and talk before one stands up to make a generalization. We are saying yes. So is it from the Benue River down to the coast? How many of these people will agree to work with the Igbo? We remember if the Doma, the Gala, and all this. You remember that the roles they played against the Igbo during the Civil War, and I believe that is what is haunting them, because they fought the war against the Igbo, right? But today, they have seen that it was a mistake. We need to be on a round table to get these discussions done. It should not be an internal thing. The Igbo people will just sit up on a table and take a decision and say they will join us. No, we have to discuss with the people, because you don't know their plans. Definitely none of them, they still feel, if you interact with even the intelligentsia around there, from that area, they are still apprehensive of dealing with Igbo. But you know that they fought against them just to show affiliation to the North. Maybe then it was the monolithic North. Today, the North is no longer, you said there is core North and peripherals. And maybe they belong to the peripherals. And the periphery North, and those of them at the periphery North believe they are not getting much from the Commonwealth. And as a result, they might be trying to assert their own federation, the Middle Belt. So for us down here in Igbo land, we are talking about this, and we've been talking about restructure the Nigerian Federation, right? And one will go on to ask, what actually are we going to restructure? What is the structure before we talk about the restructuring? What is to be restructured? How does this restructure affect the Igbo? And how will the restructure benefit the Igbo or solve the Igbo problems? I believe the problems is not about the systems, because all these systems we've been practicing in Nigeria is working from where they were copied. why are they not working in Nigeria? Why are they not working in Nigeria? We've talked about the Biafra, yes, the proposed map and all this, and you'll find the leaders of the IPOB drawing the maps. Have you consulted with those people inside your map, or you just wake up and start bringing everybody inside your food? Is that not another South Sudan we are proposing? Then can we be talking about restructuring, regionalism, and referendum, as Prof is talking about? But you'll find out that yes, it does not mean that every nationality must be monocultural. It's not possible. No nation in the world, even Israel we are talking about, the Jews and the Arabs are there. Then even in our own Africa today, we should know that by 1961, Tanganyika and Zanzibar got independence. But they united into one Tanzania. And ever since, there has never been a problem. Have we ever bothered to know how these people are managing themselves? How have they been living? What has been sustaining them? What is our problem? People said, what makes the he-goat smell? Maybe it's in the blood. We know that. Then, if we now go on to say, oh, but we know that from the era of colonialism, the River Niger is an international water. Because it is an international water, dredging the Niger to Onitsha can give us access to the sea. The Suez Canal or the Red Sea, and finally the Suez Canal too, is an international water. We know the Egyptians have control, but ships pass through it. Is that not right? So that access to the sea, I believe, can be solved through that. And because it can be solved through that, the whole gamut of saying that Opobo, this, we have all of them have to capitulate or into Igbo land for us to have access to the sea, I don't think it's sustainable, because it will be opening further frontiers of wars that may not get us where we want to go. Let me put this now. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Apex. If I get you right, I think you raised a number of issues. First of all, you talked about how much do the Igbos love themselves. First of all, because you have to love yourselves before you expect others to love you. And then you want to pose a question. What is the structure first? What is the character of this present structure? And then before we talk about restructuring, because you have to understand the structure at the present right now before you talk about restructuring what you have in the present. And then how would the restructuring benefit Ndi Igbo? And why do you think the present structure that needs to be structured does not benefit Ndi Igbo? Now, it does appear that you are also trying to align with Ezoke that maybe the presenter is yet to clearly define exactly what he wants to achieve. Maybe when he will be, responding to the issues raised, you may have to touch on some of these things you raised. Meanwhile, we want to bring in Professor Ezrim to have his own take at this presentation today. So if Professor Ezrim is there, can you unmute yourself? Professor Ezrim?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you are welcome. Yes, I'm sure you have listened. I'm sure you have listened to the presenter, Professor Obasigwe, and now Professor Apex has also made his own perspective. We have heard him. Please. We want to listen to you and see how you can help us understand better the presentation we've been listening to this evening. You have the floor. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. And thanks to everyone who has been here so far. I have been paying attention to the discourse so far. And I have this to say, this rumor, I call it a rumor, that the new governance model for Nigeria, as drafted by Dr. Akin Fakuhunda, so that it seems to be attracting official support, given the way the Patriots were received by the president when they went to see him, and also given the, the caliber of seasoned gentlemen that, are part of that group, the Patriots. So these are people who have seen it all in Nigerian politics and who are well respected. But taking a look at the proposals that they have made and the way and manner, the thing has come out, none of the proposals seem to have paid particular attention to the legitimate interests of Igbo or even other Nigerians who are suffering, deliberate man-made arrangements. So from my take and from the lecture given by Professor Basigbe, the Igbo people do not really have any problems with their neighbors in the real sense of the word. All they are asking for is some form of rethink, reorganization, restructuring that will be beneficial to them as a people, because they have been dealt quite very bad and very heavy blows over the years. And this, we're saying this not to make any case that maybe because of where we come from or that, but because there are a lot of, this unresolved debates on the restructuring in Nigeria, has come with a lot of, costs. And until they are resolved, we are likely going to continue to have, unending war of wars, misunderstanding, confrontations, and all that, both among the academia and in the political circles and in the economic circles and all that. So there is need to have, some of these things noted very clearly. Politics have been defined by some people as the management of demand, which, if not promptly and properly managed, have the tendency to become very violent. So the obvious and the ultimate cause of continued neglect of the people of their increasingly loud demands for restructuring tend to run into kind of violence or anarchy with all the accompanying distortions that come with it. So there is need to have this discussion. When you continue to over-centralize power at the federal level, with all the negative tendencies that come with it, which I've already highlighted by Professor Basigwe and others. If you continue to over-centralize the resources at the federal level, with all the key negative consequences that come with it, especially with the corruption, the wastages, and of course the starvation of component units, which is seen through series of lopsided and skewed appointments and all that. If you continue running a supposed federation like a unitary state in a multi-ethnic society, with its devastating consequences, which include the dysfunctional system, general insecurity, loss of confidence in the federal government by citizens, you will definitely frighten away, foreign investors and, of course, retard development. Now, when there is general dissatisfaction and disillusionment in the people, especially those from the south, and especially those from the southeast. Which continues to escalate from poverty, criminality, hate speeches, and all that. It's like a snowball that will continue to, steam until, it becomes unbearable and unmanageable. We have also had, continuous separatist agitation, which may one day become armed if care is not taken. Because as much as people want to give that narrative that the Southeast is trying to, cause problem in Nigeria, it is not true from the details that we have and all that. Professor Basigo has done justice to that. When people are complaining about particular issues of things being done to them, of their homelands being wasted, castle rustling and all that, and so many things happening to a particular set of individuals. And those who are supposed to take action, keep a blind eye to it and not pretend as if nothing is happening. Then definitely, this exclusionism and all that, nepotism, inequality and all that, we one day, come up with, come to the fore. And then people will begin to ask questions, how did we get here? There is also this worsening general human and national insecurity. And the whole world also is warning us that we should be very careful the way we are going. There are several reports of different agencies that have started pinpointing the likelihood of something much more serious happening if Nigeria does not take time and bring back all those who have made it a point to cause confusion in the state. National development is retarded. We cannot attain national greatness anymore. The respect you have in the world is, waning. Even a leadership of Africa, for instance, is waning seriously. These days, foreign policy, Nigeria's Africa is the centerpiece of Nigerian foreign policy. The whole Afrocentricism and all that we preach is almost becoming like a laughingstock, because those who know what we are going through now see us as what exactly are these talking about when they are unable to deal with their own local issues, and they want to now begin to preach to us that they have what it takes to, and all that. So these are all part of what we are seeing as a country, because we have been unable to take very seriously what is going on here. So when this set of individuals, well-respected individuals, come together with a view to providing solutions to to the myriads of problems you have in the country, ordinarily they should be listened to. But when you now take a look at their presentation and what they're bringing up to the fore, and looking at what we are facing as a nation and what we have faced, which we expect that they would, deal with in their submission to the president, you begin to have doubts as to the workability of what they think they want to do for us. Because even if we were to agree, let us forget about the structure and all that. How do we even want to go about this? I watched that, their meeting with the president, and also read some reports about it. We have had, like Professor Ape mentioned, we've had, whenever a president wants to look for some level of legitimacy and all that, he brings up a set of people, and they begin to let us do this, let us have conference, let us have all that. How do you do that, given the kind of structure we have in place already? Who is going to elect those who will go and work on whatever constitution, whether we are going back to 1963 or 1999, or bringing them together, or having who are those people who will do this? How will they emerge? Because the same issues, the same problem that we are faced with, we still rear its heads. A nation that has not been able to, have a election that you can claim to be free, and fair. Who are those? Who are the actors who will now engage these people, who will come and change whatever? Even if this forum now, for instance, is able to get the best option as to what the correct constitution should be in order to have a major regional, a good regional structure, restructure Nigeria very well and all that. How would those who will engage in this action, where would they come from? It's not from the same process that we've seen to be vitiated by, unwarranted abuse and all that. So this is very serious. And, there's no doubt that Nigerian leaders, since the emergence of the military in 1960, have felt this concept called federalism. The leadership of Nigeria has felt, federalism from beginning to the end. And it is doubtful if we can survive for long or even develop as expected with the way our federal structure is being run. Because right now it is a pseudo-federal system. There is exclusionism, there is nepotism, bloodletting, impunity, arrogance of power, which have closed all hopes and channels of genuine dialogue. So how do we now have this dialogue that the Patriots are proposing, whether it's going to be a 6 unit or 12, whatever, or 18 or whatever anybody is talking about? How would we even go about having this, given the kind of federal structure that we are already practicing, and which is giving us a very serious problem? So it has become very imperative that, one, the country's political leaders, to begin to transform themselves from being mere politicians and local champions to statesmen, and commence the process of genuine dialogue on how Nigerians can live together in peace. There is nobody who doesn't want to live in peace. There is no country that doesn't want to live in peace. There is no state. There is no culture. There is no Igbo people want to live in peace. Yoruba people want to live in peace. Other people want to live in peace. Fulani people, everybody wants to live peacefully. But we must look at the overall gains of restructuring for the whole nation, for Africa, and for humanity, not from a narrow, group prison per se. There's need to enhance national stability, peace, unity, because this is the only thing that will catalyze national development and greatness, and which will enable Nigeria, to give better life to its people, deepen its democracy, take its due place among the Committee of Nations, and uplift humanity and go beyond even what we have now as a. If you see, as somebody engaged in international politics, we have lost a lot of respect as a nation, so that people can, even though the people that we are supposedly feeding, the people we are building roads from here to their doorsteps, people we are giving water and light and all that, they don't have respect for us, and because they have seen that all we preach, you just preach and they claim to be giant of Africa and all that, but we have been unable to go beyond that mere posturing to anything that is meaningful. So when they say that we are unable to do much with what we have, then it becomes a very big problem for us. So there is need for us to have a very serious discussion, and this discussion cannot just come as a result of a group of people coming together and trying to impress it on government, or a lot of people believe that they were brought together to come and do the same thing that people have always done over the years, so that to give some level of seriousness to curb certain problems that are popping up from various units of the country. So the restructuring, if you want to talk about restructuring, and there is no geographical equity and balance in land area, population, wealth. There is no financial autonomy and viability of component units from resource control. And there is no equal representation of the component units in the, the National Assembly and others. And then reducing the federal exclusive list in favor of component units. If we are not doing this and we're not ready to do this, or whatever name you call it dialogue, call it whatever conference, call it, it doesn't really have much, it will not amount to much. Look at Nigeria today. Look at the police structure. People are talking about state policing. People are talking about the do's and don'ts, the pros and cons of having others. But if we should have some level of multi-level policing, in this country today, I think it may also help in enhancing human and natural and national security in the country. Several nations are not, if you go around, check the world today, most countries are not interested in, dealing with such issues of injustice, ignorance, development, poverty, exclusionism, and all that. But they are just, talking about how do we go, you see, leaders are only interested in having their seats secured. They are not developing the culture of dialogue in resolving domestic disputes, because most leaders still prefer the use of force as a primary option. Look at what happened in the sidelines of that visit of the Patriots to the president. They also talked about the impending end bad governance protests, and they mentioned it. But hello?
Sorry, whose phone is okay? Sorry.
Hello?
Yeah, Professor Ezerim, thank you very much for the wonderful intervention. I would yield to Professor Chris Agbedo. However, before I do, I must note that the Patriot is quite different from what Dr. Akin Papohunda, his presentation is. He's not representing the Patriot. I say so because I have had I think about 3 or 4 interviews with him where this clarification has been made. While you were speaking, on the screen, we had his own proposition that he called, he said that it was a coalition of indigenous ethnic nationality, CIEN, and his own is about the 8, but what the Patriots are actually saying is, if we restructure to go back to, the current realities, when they say quote unquote, when these current realities of 1963 is said, means we can take the 1963 as a baseline. In summary, they are basically proposing regional governance. However, you see where the problematic is when you talk about the regional governance. I've also had the privilege of having an interaction with the leaders of the Middle Belt, and who will tell you that when you do that regional governance of the way being proposed, then you run into the problem of them being emasculated within some ethnic nationalities in their region, and that they want it that way. If you ask them, they will tell you they actually want a 36 state, the way it is, or a 42. So what I was expecting to have this, having so much intellectual powerhouse here, so much professors is, Professor Abedo, probably you help me out here, that, we will live here knowing that this is what we are going to yank on the table. If we're going to take away with, you do away with A, we do away with B, but this is what the proposition is going to be. I do not know if, that is, we might be able to get at that, but I'm still hoping that, aside from the known issues and problems we know, but the key point, in my view, is yet to be, kind of hammered in here. Professor Chris Abed, I yield back.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ezoke. I want to join Ezoke in thanking Professor Izrim for his very incisive intervention. When I was listening to him, I think I kind of drew some kind of parallel from what he was saying. That is when I recall what Professor Apex talked about. Professor Apex was talking about the fact that this structure and the restructuring we're talking about have been working elsewhere, where we copied such structure from, have been working very fine for them. Why is it not working for us that we need to restructure? And how are we sure that even when we restructure the structure, it will still, it will still meet our needs, solve our problem. And here, Professor Izrim is also talking about political leaders being local champions and then wanting them to become statesmen. And then also that restructuring should be viewed from a more of a pluralistic standpoint, and not just each group coming and say, this is what we want, this is what we want. And then, of course, that it is something that should benefit everybody. We shouldn't be, self-serving, because as he said, that most or some leaders are self-serving. And it is clear that actually that some of our supposedly people that we should look up to as statesmen are actually, according to Izrim, are more like local champions. And so, but in all this, yes, I said it earlier that this is a platform for, divergent ideas, perspectives, positions. That is the whole idea. So that when we bring our different views and opinions and perspectives, we see where we relate, we see where we differ, and then see how we can harmonize our differences and then hammer out something, a functional framework that will address all these issues we are raising today. So every issue, every point raised today is very, very valid. We have created this platform. Now, the time for us now, okay, let's come together and say, okay, you are saying this, I am saying this. How do we harmonize our position? And so at this point, I would like to, if Professor Obasigwe is still here with us, are you with us? So that we'll give him 3 to 4 minutes to react to these issues before we go to Kennedy Okechukwu. He has been raising his hands. Professor Obasigwe, are you there? Hello, Prof. He was complaining that he has been cut off. I told him, no, maybe he should look, check his device, that nobody cut him off.
I think it's, very likely to be his device that has done that. But okay. in the absence of that, we can actually move to Kennedy Okechukwu. And I know those of you, please, in the room wanting to have any intervention, I've read comments from Tony Nadi, that is the Secretary General of NINAS, and he's here. So obviously, Tony, if you also want to make intervention, it will be appreciated as well. So Kennedy, please. And let me, while we are doing that, let me take these, comments from the comment section that says, is there any spiritual reason for what Nigeria is passing through? That's a food for thought. So Kennedy, please.
Before Kennedy, sorry, who is this iPhone? iPhone, please, can you identify yourself? iPhone.
iPhone, can you please, you're wearing a blue jersey. If you can change your name properly before can you change your name in your device, please? So, in the comments, again, taking from the comment section, I take a note from Tony Nadi says, when we get sufficiently tired of going round in the circle, we will return to the only proposition that is rooted in actual processes that identified and engage the constituent people of Nigeria with a clear-cut roadmap that takes out in orderly manner the 1999 Constitution and sets out step by step what the problem is, what has to be done, when it has to be done, how it is all to be done, and what and who exactly to do what in the deconstruction of the process. So
I think the guy you described as on Blue has identified him. I think Richard or somebody, Richard somebody.
So Richard, then in that case, kindly unmute and
Mr. Richard, are you there?
Hello. Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Ochiobi.
Richard who?
Ochiobi. O-C-H-I-O-B-I.
Ochiobi. Okay.
Ochiobi.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think I must commend the convener of this very forum, and I've listened to quite a number of people speak, professors, and a lot of respected people has made some useful input. But I just want to add one or two things. For those of us who, I grew up in Nigeria. I studied at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and I'm a Lion. And there's hardly any part of Nigeria I haven't been to, luckily enough, by default. I did my A-levels, Federal School of Art and Science, Sokoto. I did my youth service in Plateau, Jos. And I understand Efik. I grew up in Cross River, then today, Akwa Ibom. Now, I think that gives it a little bit of a flavor in terms of, I've lived in various parts of Nigeria. I started my career back in Exxon in Lagos before coming to UK in the late 90s to do my master's. So, having looked at what's been happening in Nigeria, I think it is just fair to say that it's only very few people that have refused the country from moving forward for their selfish interests. So if we can only, sort these people out, however we want to do that, and then we can plan on how to go forward. However, the restructuring will make sense. But just like one of the speakers has said, your restructure, is it going to meet our need at the end of the day? Now, if the so-called, the big weight we call politicians who are the local champions, who are not even competent enough to compete or to come to deliver speeches in an international space or the world-class stage, then they are really nothing to write them about. So I'm afraid they shouldn't be referred to as statesmen because they are not really what, calling that word of, name, such title, statesmen. And I think, for us to move forward, it's good to give, a respect to some of the people that are within, our geographical region. When we are talking about the Southeast, how do we, the target of, who are supposed to be, the Southeast or who are not. I think we could start from the grassroots to look at, do some consultations, to look at what they think, what they feel, because just like I don't know the name of the prof that said something relating to that. Are you sure they are really, interested? But they should. It's just because of fear that they have been either hypnotized by the, some people within the northern region, and they know that because of what they'll benefit. Somebody comes to give you a peanut and say, look, if you let this happen, we'll do this to you. And it's just that fear. But if they can be reassured that, look, this is for the good of our nation moving forward. Today, in the United Kingdom, we say United Kingdom, you're made up of 4 countries. Scotland is 1, Wales is 2, England is 3, Northern Ireland is 4. If I travel from Preston and I'm heading towards Scotland, as soon as you cross the border between England and Scotland, you start seeing Scottish notes. And each of these regions, or call it country, has their parliament. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't have so in Nigeria. So if we can think of a way or come up with a strategy where the executive arm of government, the judiciary arm of government is strengthened, people are so scared about, who will say, and if you do, they shut you up by killing you and all that. And that's the problem. And of course, we could go around and around in circle 10, 20 years, from now, 30 years, some of us would have passed on and nothing will happen. So I think it's high time we'll begin to read how to think of how to, make these things work, put a practical and more realistic, plan in place on how to achieve this. The other day, I was listening to somebody making some careless statement. Oh, come 2027, the next governor of Abia will be from a particular state of, party. How could you say that? These are biased people. We want, the good of everybody. We can coexist as a country if there's need for us to coexist as a country. But otherwise, people should be allowed to go back to their kitchens and begin to, restructure and model themselves on how they want to present themselves to the world. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Richard Ochiobi. I hope I got it right.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm Igbo.
Okay. Dalo, thank you so much for taking time to be with us in this maiden edition of this Igbo Spectrum webinar series. Thank you so much. We appreciate everything you have dropped for us here. I think everybody is passionate about the workability of this great nation called Nigeria. And it is our business as good citizens of this country to make this this blessed country to work for the good of the generality of all of us, not for a few. So our business here is to see how we can address issues affecting us as a people, as a nation, and then hammer out a functional framework that can work for all of us. So I want to thank you so much. Now, Kenneth, okay,
thank you.
We are back. Can you please let us have your own view briefly? We are almost winding down.
Thank
please.
you, Prof. Yeah, thank you, Prof. Ndị be anyị ekene m.
Ndewo.
Biko, ife m chọrọ ikwu bụ na adịghị m ka anyị ga-egbo mkpa dị elu Igbo n'asụsụ oyibo. Nke a bụ ofu. Asụsụ oyibo a, asụsụ bekee, English, dị mma na aghụghọ. Nke a bụ one. Mana ka anyị sọwakwa ya ka e wee ndị na-aghọtara Igbo wee ghọta ihe anyị na-ekwu. Nke a bụ one. Ihe nchọ ka anyị bulu n'obi bụ, if you think the Civil War is over, think again. If you think Nigeria is free or independent from Britain, think again. I'm talking about 2024. So, we know that Chatham House appoints Nigeria's president. So Nigeria is not independent from Britain. That is one. And that is not our business as ndị Igbo. Onye ajụlụ anaghị ajụ onwe. Let us look backwards, homewards. When Nigeria's government proscribed IPOB, the first thing British government made was to grant asylum to ndị Igbo bịabanụ Britain rapụnụ ana unu ka ndị our favored servants, our boys, our Fulani boys rapụnụ ana unu bịabanụ Britain. We will give you asylum. We want the Fulani to take over your land. Ụfọdụ chekwa na-ezigbo ihe. The other time they said, oh, British government has established again embassy in Enugu. Oh, everybody leave Enugu, leave your place, leave Igbo land, you have London. That is Hana Kedafia, Guinea gift.
Greek gift? Is that?
Greek gift. Yes. Aghụghọ. O dolu unu anya na asị ndị Nigeria niile gbọrọ ndị Igbo today bụ instigated by Britain, because na Britain bịa n'Igbo land wee for democracy without clothes on. When the British imperially, when they settled with the emir in the north, it is done and dusted. When they settled any issue with the Oba in the west, it was done and dusted. When they discussed with the Igwe or chief Igbo land, I say, okay, I've heard you. I will take the matter to my people. Let them call it a name.
Mr. Okechukwu, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because just a minute. Sorry, I'm butting in. Just a minute.
No,
if
go
you
ahead.
don't mind. If you don't
Yes.
mind, can you narrow your discussion down to
what I want to narrow,
so
what
that
I want
we
to
know
say,
exactly
yeah.
your position on what the Professor Abasigwe has presented to us.
Yes,
Please.
yes, please. Yes. The best revenge is performance. Let Igbo people come down. We are not looking for members. Those who don't belong now will come in by visa. Let us now, somebody said, others don't love you. How do you love yourself? Why does the village woman who brings vegetable to the market in Abapanike, in Enugu, local government house will come and collect money because that is what they see that is done in Lagos. Let us look at how we punish ourselves at home in the name of politics and government. That is where we should start. Let us look back home. Forget about Nigeria. And then when we look, and then, okay, for Igbo people in diaspora, only this group of Jews, anything that involves Jewish people abroad, there is a group on ground that moves out with media, with defense, with, do you understand? So Igbo people in diaspora should form a group to look at Igbo interest in every part of the world. Let us leave Fulani and this thing at home. Let us stand on our own at home. When our neighbors see us, they will be attracted. Let us not co-opt them. Let us not coerce them. Let Igbo people come together. Please, this oppressive tax, extreme taxation, double taxation that Igbo states now copy from Lagos. The Lagos state government na-eme for ndị bịara abịa ọbụrụ for ndị obodo ha. Ndị Igbo akọpịlị ya na-eme ya n'Enugu, na-eme ya n'Ụmụahịa. Because let us look at that, whereby you remember going home. Yes, we have to be Igbo enough on our own before we attract neighbors to ourselves.
Thank you. Thank you. We have to love ourselves. We are also still harking back to what Professor Apex talked about, loving ourselves. First of all, we have to love ourselves. Thank you so much. And you raised the issue of Igbo language. Yes, I know this is Igbo, actually, and we're supposed to speak Igbo. But the thing is that we have people from different parts of the world. We have our Ndi Igbo in homeland, Ndi Igbo in diaspora, and then African Americans who don't understand the language. So for their sake, please, if you don't mind, we would like to use a language that will cut across everybody so that everybody will be taken, will be carried along. That is not to say that we're not going to use Igbo when the context demands. But for now, please, unless the person cannot speak the English language, why not? Can speak Igbo. Afra is our language. And one of the reasons why Center for Igbo Studies was established, to promote, preserve, develop Igbo language, literature, and culture. So thank you so much for pointing that out. I don't know how much time we have. Igbo Women Ambassadors Club UK.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. Sorry, my name is Lady Marlene Onyocha. I've been trying to change it from here. I cannot because yes, I live in London, but I'm in the US at the moment.
Okay. What's the name again?
Marlene Onyocha.
Okay, Onyocha. Oh,
yes.
Onyocha indeed.
Lady Marlene Onyocha. I live in UK.
Onyocha, no.
Thank you, sir. And I'm the founder of the
please.
Yes, I'm the founder of the Igbo Women Ambassadors UK.
Oh, great. You're welcome.
And I've been trying to change the name to my name. It's not allowing me. So excuse me, pardon me to just speak for a short minute.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've been listening to everyone that spoke, and I thank everybody. I thank myself for being part of this. I actually have not heard about this community before until I joined today, and I like what I'm hearing. As an advocate of Igbo, anywhere in the world, I enjoyed what's going on. But my reservations, pardon me if I'm wrong, is us that is causing what's happening to us. I heard one of my brothers stated about, I think it's a professor, his name, I'm not too sure, about what somebody said in Abia State. I'm from Abia State, Omwa here. APC, stating it the way it was, APC ruling the next being the next governorship of Abia State. These are political statements, and we Igbos, if we're complete Igbos, we should not use political statements as part of our words or subject matters when we are discussing Igbo matters. What's going on in our Igbo now is terrible. And it is not outsiders that are causing it. It's us, the insiders, especially the diasporans, the way I understand it. I'm also a diasporan, but I contested an election last time in Nigeria, 2023, House of Reps. When I went to Nigeria, all the things I witnessed going on in Igbo lands where I contested in Omuahia was mainly caused by our Igbo brothers and sisters. So if I need email, sorry, I missed it up. We need to dig deep. We need to dig deep into what our problems are. I also heard somebody mention about IPOB and all that. As long as we are divided into, I use the word community again. IPOB to me is a community, because it does not represent Igbo, as far as I'm concerned. So, and some of us believe in it, some of us does not. Until we are together, have one voice, speak in one voice, we Igbos coming together and say, we are Igbo. I came to US, I want to go and, there's something happening in Albuquerque, which is being organized by the Igbo community in the United States. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm in North Carolina on my way. But if you get there, whenever you're in a gathering of Igbos, there's no, either this person is talking about APC, this person is talking about IPOB, this person is talking about Nigeria, this person is talking about Biafra. The moment we stop talking about all these things and come back as one individual, I believe that's the only way we can move forward. Meeting Lila Ine. And even in this meeting now, I'm going to pick one or two things that I'm against, which shouldn't be. But because It's affecting us. If I go to Igbo now, I'm an enemy because I'm a part of APC. This person is an enemy of the land because he does not belong into IPOB. This person is an enemy of the land, and we're all the same with one voice. I think if there's some way we can all come together, Unuabu elders, especially the diasporans, come together, educate more or less those grassroots that was mentioned about the togetherness of the Igbo that we were before the Civil War you're talking about. I was alive during the Civil War. I witnessed the war my parents carried us children, I walked from Onitsha to Umuahia by foot. So I knew what happened there. I'm not expecting it to happen because most people calling for Biafra now are calling for what we cannot handle. We're not ready for it now. So if there's a way we can get more people into, take your time, get to know Igbo first before you start divisions.
Thank you so much, Onyacha. Thank you so much for your very brilliant intervention. I think from what I heard you say and others, we have been able to identify some of the major challenges facing us as a people. So once we have diagnosed the problem, then I think the problem is half solved. We will now seek for the solution. And that is what the whole roundtable here is all about. We want to interrogate issues affecting us as a people, as a nation, as a race, and then see how we can look for the solution within the context of a contemporary Nigeria. What came out so glowing here is that we need to really go back into our inner recesses as a people. What are those things? Somebody talked about that which is dealing with us is ingrained in our bones, in our marrows. So we have to start asking us, searching our consciences, asking ourselves very soul-searching questions. What are those things that are making us be where we are? What in the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria today? That is because we talked about asking very hard questions and then seeking the answers. Now we have begun. The race has just begun. So I want to thank everybody that took our time to be with us, starting with the guest lecturer. Unfortunately, we have lost him and we can't get him again. Maybe we'll have had some few minutes to react to the issues raised, concerning what he presented. In any case, the conversation is an ongoing thing. It's not stopping tomorrow. We have just started. So I want to thank him for making our time to give us this wonderful presentation. And our wonderful panelists, Professor Apex Ape, Professor Ezirim, and of course, all our participants from different parts of the world. We thank you. I saw Dr. Sidney Davis. Maybe he couldn't join, but I saw him. And all other people also, Nadi, is it Tony Nadi? And then I think Tony is Mwezi. Pardon me if I don't remember your name. Yeah, I want to appreciate everybody. I want to express my gratitude to all the people that participated. Center for Igbo Studies, University of Nigeria will remain eternally grateful to all of you for giving us this opportunity, for giving us this chance and to see what we can do. We don't know it all. We are just learning. All of us are learning. Please, if you see where we are getting it wrong, feel free to point it out to us. We are ready to learn. We are all learners. We'll continue to always improve. So I want to especially thank Ezoke, who made his multimedia channels available to us. Ezoke, are you there?
Yes, I am.
So I want to especially thank you. We at the Center for Igbo Studies will remain eternally grateful to you. And I hope that this is going to be a continuous thing because already I have somebody online for September presentation and others are already on the queue. So let me, at this point, say thank you once again, and as I yield the floor to Mr. Ezeoke to round off today's presentation. Mr. Ezeoke.
Thank you very much. I think that is a very fine place to anchor with. You know, as na n'Igbo, as na ọgbambara gbasi egwu bụ ike mana ihe ọ mụtara na egwu agwụgo. So, Prof ekwutesigo ya bụ okwu. Ndị kwukwa n'okwu maka isu asụsụ Igbo biko na anyị ejirokwa n'ụzọ dị okorobịa ọ bụrụkwa na anyị amara asụ Igbo na anyị na-asụkwa n'Igbo na-asụte ya mma na-asụkwa na-asụ na-ede ya ede wee sụkwa ya na nke ndị mahadum maka na ihe anyị na-eme bụ ihe ejikọrọ aka ọnụ were eme Igbo Center gbasalụ maka asụsụ Igbo na University of Nigeria, Nsukka, the only University of Nigeria where we're trying to serve humanity. On that note, I would say thank you very much once more. What will then happen now is those of us watching live on our various media platforms will say thank you very much for joining us. And I will use the opportunity to say thank you for, today is more or less like a collection of professors. I mean, if I look down here, I have so many professors here. I have Professor Selina Emme, also Professor Osita Obu, and I have I have a Professor Gerard Zirim. I mean, come on, you guys are making me to blush. I want to become a professor if it's possible, but a real one. And with Professor Chris Abedo, Professor Apex Abe, so many. In fact, I think I would add my own Professor Maze Ezeoke in view. So if you pardon me, I will do that for this evening. Thank you very much. And for all of you watching online, we say thank you very much. And for those of you in this room, we may have to have 1 or 2 minutes just for you to say hello to one another.